So Ashley is Executive Vice President, Worldwide Chairman, Medical Devices at Johnson & Johnson, responsible for $27 billion or so of revenue, 70,000 employees. The well-known divisions that she's responsible for, global companies include Ethicon, DePuy, Synthes, Biosense Webster, and J&J Vision.
He saves the best for last now.
Of course. 20 years or so with Johnson & Johnson. She started early. I've been told by a person of authority that Ashley has at J&J delivered above market performance year after year in her multi-billion-dollar global companies. So there's a strong appreciation for that leadership. She's a bold-thinking change agent. In 2012, was awarded the Working Mother of the Year by the Working Mother magazine, so congratulations on that. Many other awards that I won't go into. But she's also described as a credo-based leader. And Johnson & Johnson, an upstart company that's only been around for 132 years, 75th anniversary of the credo. Tell us a little bit about the credo, how it works, how it makes a difference within J&J.
Sounds good. Well, first of all, it's great to be back. A couple things. So one, the credo, General Robert Wood Johnson was one of the Johnson brothers, and he founded the credo 75 years ago. And we use it as our North Star. Some folks call it a little bit like a cult. But it's really simple. It has patients are first and our customers, and then it has our employees, and then it has our communities. And he was the largest shareholder at the time, and he had shareholder return as last. So he put himself last. And I have had the good fortune, I've been with J&J over about 23 years, and I've seen teams really use it to make good decisions. And, some recent examples, I tended to the diabetes business, which we actually sold some of the blood glucose monitoring business, but we, for over 20 years, were in the insulin pump business for folks with type 1 diabetes. And we didn't necessarily see the sustainability of that business model, so we had already elected to make a decision to sunset that business. But unlike many other companies that just kind of closed their doors, we had a tremendous obligation for 1 million people who relied on our insulin pump. And so, having the patient at the forefront of everything every day really informed our decision making to, transition those patients to other companies that could take care of them, make sure that we had the right supplies in place. So again, not really a business as usual as an example. We have a little bit of a heritage in infectious disease, and when the Ebola virus broke out in Africa, we were tapped. And I like to say, kind of J&J on our best day is when we're acting as a convener of care, and we can't do it by ourselves, and we invite everyone in to help solve that problem, whether it be supply chain experts who understand, how to manage a live virus, or working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to incite, how we do local public and private partnerships on the ground to make sure care is delivered. So these are examples of, taking care of the community, taking care of our patients. We were one of the first to offer paternity leave for folks. Any new dads in the room, go, take care of that special moment. And we continue to learn and refine, Bill.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very good perspective. So Ashley, you lead all medical devices at J&J. You've had a strong presence in the vision area for a time. More recently, got into surgery. How does ophthalmology and how does vision fit in the overall perspective of J&J broadly and the medical device area specifically?
Obviously, it was really fun to see a lot of the emerging science today. And, we look at, we're very fortunate to be a leader in healthcare. And so what we really focus on are where is the unmet need. In ophthalmology, there's still a significant amount of unmet need. and how can we make a difference? And, we just recently stood up a disease area stronghold in retina, chaired by Peter Adamson. And, we are super excited. I was listening today around how the paraphysiology is changing and the understanding of that for retina conditions and how some of the modalities of intervention are going to make a difference, whether that be like multi-specific proteins or in gene therapy. So you probably know J&J as a contact lens company. We're very committed to making even more contact lenses for consumers all around the world, but to also start to make some progress in the retina space. And then, this little surgical company that Bill bought from us many years ago, and then we ended up kind of re-entering, and we have a big ambition to make a big difference in cataract surgery, and not just obviously here in the U.S., but around the world, importantly.
Well, very good. One of the things that's interesting to me is that so far J&J does not have a pharma presence in ophthalmology. What could you share with what's happening there? Any plans?
Yeah, I guess I would say, where do we think the biggest interventions are going to come from? And I don't, it's our belief that it probably is not going to be a pure pharma play, nor will it be a pure device play. And, I'll give you an example in another area that we're taking a lot of learning into the world of ophthalmology, and that is in the area of lung cancer. And many of you know that, because we don't have good diagnosis early on, people don't get diagnosed to very, very late, and by the time it's like stage 3, and there's less than 5 years to live. And so almost to how you can get a colonoscopy, how can you create almost a pulmonoscopy? And now you can, with the advancement of endoluminal robot. We bought this in Dr. Fred Moll's organization, and you can access endoluminally and get the very distal parts of the lung and get access to a very minimally invasive lung lesion diagnostic. We also have an energy company for ablation, so you can see where that can go and potentially disperse oncologic viruses. So that is really going to change the standard of care for lung cancer. And so we use that as an example that it's not just a pure device intervention or pharm. And we actually think there's really neat interventions potentially in the area of retina, as an example.
Well, very good. This is an innovation meeting. You've been here over the years a number of times. And one of the things we like to think about in our field, and specifically related to the leaders of the field and the up-and-comers, is how do you think about and execute on innovation at J&J, and maybe specifically in the eye health area, balancing inside innovation, outside innovation, et cetera?
No, I think it's really special. I would say ophthalmology is a very, special community, because it really has, from its origins, always, fed upon that ecosystem. And we're very committed to doing that. That's really been, quite frankly, how all medical technology, how all med tech was born, out of little small startups that, what we're good at is partnering and then giving that better access to more patients around the world. And, about half of our innovation is from outside of our own, walls. We like to say we like to access the world's best laboratories. We've been intimately involved in diversifying beyond contact lens, whether that be into cataract surgery, obviously LASIK surgery, into dry eye, into the world of how consumers engage with health professionals and connected commerce. I'd say we're just getting started. We've invested in Johnson & Johnson Med Device about $11 billion over the past 2.5 years. The biggest investment of that was to enter the world of ophthalmic surgery, which speaks to kind of how bullish we are of the future of that. And then the second biggest area was really in the world of digital surgery and robotics. And then we looked to some of these platforms, whether that be our Biosense Webster business, which is, my goodness, 20 years old, still growing double digit, or whether that be in areas like biosurgery, we're a leader. How do we strengthen and have a good, healthy, meaningful pipeline in that regard?
Well, thanks for that. We're going to transition a bit and talk about you. You're a woman leader in industry, in healthcare, and specifically at Johnson & Johnson. It's you have how many children?
I have a whole basketball team.
It's 5 on court. Had to be very interesting times to be raising your family as you were growing and progressing and leading within Johnson & Johnson. Why don't you share some of the interesting times along the way?
Thank you, Bill. Well, listen, you know what? For me, I think it's really important that we marry like what our personal values are with our professional values. And when they are in unison with each other, like amazing things can happen. And we can do a heck of a lot for our businesses and our customers and our patients, but also our families and our communities. And, you know, I was very fortunate to join an environment that let me, you know, touch 5 different businesses and have 5 different kids over the years. And, you know, what really harnessed was just the purpose of, you know, we're in the business of, quite frankly, many times saving lives, if not dramatically changing the quality of life. And for me, that kind of calling is really what keeps you going and makes it really fun and exciting. And then you get a whole team behind you, you know, who wants to help enable and be a part of that mission. And, you know, so listen, you have good days, you have bad days. You know, I'm a big believer in some basics around exercise, sleep, food is fuel. I know we don't talk about those things. I think you have to make leadership accessible for a lot of people. A lot of people need encouragement when you're in the middle of a turnaround and the business isn't moving and you're in that 4th quarter and the numbers aren't going there, or one of your children's or your family members, you know, has an illness. And, you know, I'm very fortunate. J&J is a 133-year-old company, so we are in business for the long term and we're in familyhood for the long term. And we celebrate all kinds of families, and we, you know, that if you're, you know, taken care of, we know how much we're going to do our very best for patients and customers. So stay tuned, help each other out. Never a good day. I say you can have one bad day, can't have 2 bad days in a row. And we have to help each other.
Okay, thanks for that. Let's give Ashley a hand. So, she came out specifically to come to the OIS meeting and share her perspective on Johnson & Johnson and some personal perspective as well. Now we're going to transition to a panel Jim Mazo is going to lead. Jim?